Today's breakdown, similar to the prior one, is focusing on a live event matchup. This one at Riverside Brookfield between Benet Academy, 4A state champs from last year, and Kankakee. So, very highly anticipated matchup for Benet Academy. Gene Heidkamp is one of the best coaches in the entire state. For Kankakee, Lincoln Williams is one of the top prospects in that senior class. So, a number of college prospects on both sides in this matchup. And there's a lot to kind of analyze here. I'm focusing more so today on Benet Academy, particularly the duo of Jayden Wright at the point guard spot and Colin Stack at the center position. But Kankakee has a number of players that are going to have a chance of playing high level basketball. So just kind of starting when the live stream began, and we'll go over a half similar to the last breakdown that we had, and we'll just roll through. Left too early. So on this, again, I don't know what the ball screen coverage was in terms of what the game plan for this was. I know for a fact that it wasn't to give up a straight line drive to a lefty going to his left hand. So a couple things on this. Generally speaking, Colin, who's 7 foot, 7'3", 7'4" wingspan, probably going to be in drop in college anyway. And generally for them, he's a little bit softer when it comes to where he's at, meaning he's not necessarily always going to be up, not going to be blitzing on those because he can kind of play two as well as anybody in the state with his length. Left a little too early. And then as a on-ball defender here, I would have liked to have seen Jayden get up to the level of the ball handler to fight over the screen more, just because, Colin is generally going to be softer with the ball screen coverage. So on this, I don't know when the call actually came. Don't have the audio on. But when the ball screen call comes, and, even out of your peripherals, you can probably see this coming. I would have liked to see Jayden get up into Meyer Thompson, who had a phenomenal junior season for Kankakee. He's going to have a good chance of playing college basketball. I think he just got a JUCO offer last week, actually. Because he didn't get up to the level of the screen, and it's going to be semi-drop coverage on this, letting a left-handed guy get downhill. Now, I don't know what the game plan was for ball screen coverage in this matchup, but I promise you it was not give up a straight line to a left-handed guy going to his strong hand. So, got to be a little bit better communication-wise there. And then Collins got to stay a little bit longer. He was guarding a decent shooter in E.J. Hazlett, so they may have tried to stay tighter on that. But, ball screen mishaps happen. Not ideal, but that is part of the game. So drive there. I really like this kid from Australia, Ethan McDermott. He's going to be a junior for them. Transferred in from Australia in the summer. Good athlete, good build. He kind of just has that natural ability to make plays off the dribble. He can shoot it pretty well. Solid passer. Just kind of knows how to play basketball. Very well-rounded player. They did a good job of attacking closeout to get downhill. And I think he's going to be, adding to what's already a really strong group for Benet, particularly a deep backcourt with a number of different options with shooters, guys that can come in and guard the ball. They already have a really solid kind of two-headed monster with Jayden Wright and Colin Stack, which we'll see throughout this video. But Ethan McDermott definitely big add for them, kind of that one new face for Benet this year. So again, last possession, they went to a ball screen. These three, so Meyer Thompson, Lincoln Williams, E.J. Hazlett, who transferred in from Indiana, those are kind of the three main dudes for Kankakee. All very aggressive. They have a really good group of guys that can come in and help. That's a really good take there. So defensively on this, right? I know we talked about the ball screen on the first possession. Right? If I'm Ed right here, and this is pretty common for a lot of kids, I think that is the natural inclination to turn your head when you see an away screen about to happen. As that's going on, you can't forget your gap responsibilities, your help responsibilities. So even though Lincoln's going away, you're still supposed to be at the nail here because you're about to be, you were going to be 2 passes away if Lincoln faded out, but you should have been at the nail anyway. So for this, Ed's kind of going to reach, and now he's getting a foul on that. 6'7", athletic. I've really enjoyed watching his growth, especially in the last, month or so for, Benet, and then he had a really good spring with the Wolves. On this, you just got to stick into your help, right? If he goes and screens away, you're going to have support if for whatever reason Lincoln slips, Perry's back here to help, and you're not really too concerned about a away screen where you got a guy curling out to NBA range on this. So just sinking that help. At this point, if they kick it out here, he's long enough, athletic enough to be able to guard that. So it's a good take there from the Kankakee guard to get downhill. But, gap-wise, and obviously Benet has been so productive and so elite defensively for so many years. And we'll kind of see throughout the rest of this film. There's not that many more breakdowns after that. I know that was the first 2 possessions. But, within all of these breakdowns, there's going to be positives, negatives, all stuff to analyze here. It's a good driving kick there. Again, really good shooter. Like I said, he's going to have a really good chance of being productive for Benet. I think he came in right away, seemed to pick up on what they were trying to do, which is not easy for everybody with the different actions. And again, some teams in Australia do run different stuff. So he's going to be a big addition for them. It's pretty good defense. Oh, why are we coming down? I think we got a travel call. So similar to what we've done in past breakdowns, within just watching the game itself, it's always good to look at individual developments and notes. So I think for Colin Stack, who, like I said, is 7 foot, 7'3", 7'4" wingspan, the one thing that people want to question is his ability to move. Can he move better laterally? Absolutely. I think that would help his stock tremendously if he moved very effortlessly side to side. But what you can't really argue, particularly in the last, year and a half, 2 years, is the growth in his ability and willingness to compete with guys in situations like this. EJ Hazlett is going to be playing probably 2-3 more than 3-4 at the college level, and Colin pretty much guarded him all game. It's a good job of cutting off the initial drive, showing his hands. And then here, he ended up traveling. They are just like, a simple wall up. But that's pretty good one-on-one defense to force that many bounces. You're going to have guys in the help, and that is part of what forced the travel. Knocks on whether or not he moves well enough side to side, that is what it is. Part of me really feels like people expect 7-footers to move like guards. The guys that do that are generally the NBA guys. The requirement for 7-footers playing at the Division I level is not to be the most athletic guys on the court. Having IQ helps a ton, and I think Colin shows that, and he showed a level of competitiveness defensively that helps. Really good job from Kankakee guarding the back door there. And there's McDermott again, doing a good job of getting downhill. Kankakee's best in transition. I think stretches where they looked the best, they had quick offense. So now they're getting set. Again, a lot of pass and screen away for them. It's kind of their base offense. Good defense from Jayden. Okay, ball screen again. So if I'm Kankakee, I'm really trying to figure out how, particularly Colin's guarding that, because he is the one who can wreck your offense with how he protects the rim. I want to see how he's guarding that, because now as a guard, I can kind of figure out, okay, if I call him in a ball screen every time, do I know what I'm going to get? So still pretty close to drop here. The one threat when you do drop coverage on an empty side ball screen is obviously this pop. He didn't see him here. So we're going to get a skip to the corner. Here, again, I know I'm nitpicking. I know EJ can shoot in the corner a step or two over in the paint. So when he does drive, you don't have to run that risk of getting a, kind of 50-50 foul call there at the rim. It's not a terrible look. Again, good rebound. Colin is one of the better rebounders in the state. And I'm taking that shot every time. Oh, that's a good follow. And you got to look at the activity as well. Again, I know sometimes with a player that's 7 foot, people are expecting no mistakes, flawless game. Look at the activity. Look at the pursuit of the basketball. Look how he guards. We'll see the touch later on. I would love to have a 7-footer that can do that consistently. And then we'll talk about Jayden as this continues to go on. the way he shot it, not just at Riverside, kind of throughout June since he came back from injury. I mean, anyone who doubted whether or not he was ready to take over as the guy for Benet, there should be no questions about that. I mean, he's ultra competitive, gets to his spots. He's already guarded pretty well. Take away that one initial ball screen. I mean, other than that, he's been solid in these last few possessions. That's good defense there. Only thing is don't save it that direction. Yeah, and so this is going to be Perry's first year full-time on varsity. Transferred in from Wabanzi last year as a sophomore. He has tremendous length. He's probably 6'3", 6'4"-ish. It's a good save in terms of getting to the basketball. My only thing is on this, if you're going to save it, throw it down towards the basket that you're going to score at instead of back towards their basket. Right? Great idea, great hustle, good use of his length, but he ended up basically just throwing, an outlet back to Kankakee. And then EJ's going to get over that right shoulder for a layup there. So, again, I love the energy. I love the effort. That's something, one of those experience things, right? Like he's starting right now as a first-year varsity player. It'll come a time. Good. And I really like how Perry, particularly the back end of the summer, I like how he started to really put pressure on the rim to give Benet a little bit more of attacking from the wing. So we got a baseline out of bounds here. That's a great play. Really good screens too. Doesn't end up taking the shot, but I think we'll see later we get some decent looks there for Benet off of that. Stagger screen. Lincoln, good defense there. Tough shot. Again, good activity, and it's little stuff like that, right? Colin didn't get the rebound for himself, but he kept the ball alive, and then Ed is, that's one of his better traits is he's always kind of making plays here. It's the exact same play. Like I said, they get really good looks off of this. And now here they're going to get, a drive. That's the difference for me between a 3-year point guard and a first-year point guard. I think a first-year point guard in this scenario is catching the basketball and thinking, hey, the play is for it to stagger up top. Let me look there again. Jayden Wright is a very cerebral, intelligent point guard. Also has the physicality and just general skill set to get by guys regularly. He could have thrown it back up top if he waited, if he wanted to. But what he does notice is they ran the same play. Look at where the help is. Back to the ball. 3 guys completely occupied with the screens here. There's no help. It's a good take. Honestly, for the Kankakee defender, that's probably best case scenario in that to be able to foul him and not give up an and one or a wide open layup. But again, I love the aggressiveness. I think whether he's shooting it, whether he's getting to the rim, making plays for other guys, Jayden Wright is the type of point guard that wins you games, particularly late in the playoffs, as he showed last year. I mean, you're going to see him more with the ball in his hands this year, but I mean, he's still going to be able to hit those big shots, still going to be a guy who you really rely on in big moments as a playmaker. So still fairly close in this game. And I think it ended up being about a 10, 11 point game. I still feel like we got to stay a little bit longer on that ball screen. All right. So we showed the one on the very first possession, right? Again, there's been about 3 or 4 ball screens with Colin involved. It was the same last year. He's generally going to be in drop because that makes the most sense with his ability, with his height, with his ability to cover ground. So knowing that, I feel like Jayden's still chasing a little too much. That was better getting up into the screen. If you notice the screen angle on that, though, EJ's not really in a position right now to be a huge threat right away off of this ball screen because of the way he angled the screen. Colin could if he stays for maybe 1 second longer. I haven't seen EJ roll yet. So I understand that pop threat is there. But again, remember, it's personnel, right? Mayer Thompson is a very good hard left-hand driver. If this was on the other side of the court, maybe I don't care as much. I'd still like a little bit tighter coverage on this, but like Colin's going to be in drop or flatter on this. Jayden does a better job of staying tighter. I think Colin's leaving a little too early, and also off the ball here. We're going to need a little bit more help so it's not a straight line drive. So this is another scenario where Ed's at the nail where he actually needs to be, but kind of lunges and reaches instead of stepping over fully. And I know you don't want to leave Lincoln Williams. I understand that. But it can't be that easy for a very strong physical left-handed driver to get to a strong hand off of a ball screen. So like there's got to be more of nail help there as well, in addition to whatever Jayden and Colin are doing in that initial action. And again, it is summer league, so you see, coverages are not always phenomenal because you don't have as much practice time. But particularly with those three, Ed, Colin, Jayden, those guys are all returners. So that's kind of, coverage that I feel like they're generally going to be more comfortable with. So staying with Kankakee here. Again, Kankakee, they're going to be able to use EJ to bring the ball up, Lincoln to bring it up, Meyer to bring the ball up. They have a lot of options. I mean, EJ's playing quote-unquote the 5 for them, and he's really like a 2-3 type. So they have a lot of versatility across with good athletes. All right, so we got an Iverson cut here. That is a great job getting over the top of the screen from Jayden Wright. And I know we're stopping it a little bit, but I really like details when it comes to this stuff. You don't even know what the play is supposed to end with because of the way that Jayden blows this up with how he runs over this Iverson. So you see they get into the action. Watch how hard Jayden Wright trails this and uses his physicality to make him catch the ball way outside of scoring range. Right? Slides through that gap on the first screen, gets over the top on the second. And now on this catch, nobody's shooting from out here. If he would have just walked over both of those screens, he could have curled it, could have caught it, and ripped right away. I mean, that little stuff saves possession, saves points. So now kind of back to their base pass screen away. Good stunt there from Colin. Aiden, pretty solid defense. And they've done a pretty good job so far of making it one and done. Oh, steal down there. Yeah, not a bad shot. I mean, I think Ed had the seal, but Lincoln completely backed off of a 40% three-point shooter, so that's a good shot. Really good pass. Again, that's one of those I know during the season. Tyler's probably making that layup during the season, and from a coaching perspective, that's the right play, right pass, right look. Obviously, we'd love to have 2 points for it, but that's a good take. That was the first time I really saw Lincoln kind of just say, I'm going to go attack. So far this game, he hasn't really been in attack mode. Good job getting the ball up the court. That's a good hit. Textbook transition offense there. Getting off a missed shot. And this is why having winning point guards, experienced point guards really helps you, right? Ed, good defense. I thought Ed guarded Lincoln very, very well for long stretches of this game. The second half, Lincoln got going a little bit, but I mean, Ed's a tough kid. I think he's really added strength. That's helped a lot. But watch how the ball just snaps up the court, right? Jayden Wright gets it, snaps it up. Aiden takes a 3. So now Aiden Reneker is a kid where I feel like sometimes as coaches you have examples of guys who, wait their turn. I mean, he didn't play at all last year. Didn't really get a ton of minutes. Could have probably sat on the bench and moped about it. Could have, decided that, questioning why he's not getting time. That looks like a kid to me who during all last season learned from the guys that graduated last year, worked on his game, and then put himself in position to get meaningful minutes. And very good shooter. Now, with that being said, Aiden, you do have to close out a little better on this. Good 3 on the other end, though. But that's one of those kind of no man's land deal. He didn't really beat Tyler to the point where you had to overhelp, and then just a little bit too rhythm. I know he misses it, but that was a little bit too rhythm of 3. All right, so out in transition again. They've kind of stacked multiple stops at this point. It's a good take. Again, just simple basketball. Kankakee's got a timeout right now. Don't make things more difficult than they have to be. All right, Ed clears out. Nobody sits in the help. Right here, Lincoln Williams does need to sit in the help there just to be ready. I'm a very big proponent of we need to have a low man and someone needs to establish who the low man is just so there's help on defense. But as soon as guys leave, that timing was perfect for Jayden Wright's drive. It's a good take, forces a timeout. All right, we'll skip ahead a little bit until after the timeout. Again, at this point, outside of those few ball screen possessions where I felt like Kankakee got exactly what they wanted, Benet has made it fairly difficult for rhythm shots. And obviously that's your goal defensively. Make sure guys are not getting to their sweet spots, they're not getting the actions they want to, and everything's being contested. So we'll see what set they have coming out of this timeout. And Bennett's got a couple subs in right now. All right, so catch on the wing, ball screen, and now, to me, maybe a little bit too much with the stunt there. But the reason why I'm okay with that is because Lincoln Williams is a high-level scorer. This stunt right here makes me believe, if I'm Lincoln Williams, that I need to make that extra pass. So, right basketball decision, making the pass, but not really on time or in rhythm. And that's better because we can rotate to that. It's not a downhill drive like a few of the other ball screens had been. And now they have to get into something else. All right, one-on-one here. Wanted a foul call. I couldn't really tell. So now they're out in transition. Good job stopping the basketball. A little bit more movement on this. It's a good face-up shot. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been 7-footers obviously in the state. There hasn't been a lot in the last 10 years or so that I would say shoot it as confidently and as well as Colin Stack shoots it. I mean, it's just natural touch. So his mechanics are solid. He can face up, can hit threes, pick and pop guy. Mid-range, same thing. I think his mid-post game obviously needs to continue to develop. His low-post game, I think he needs to get more confident scoring down there with his back to the basket, but I do believe that's going to come as he gets physically stronger. Right now sometimes guys can bump him a little bit, but I mean, no one's blocking that shot, and that was all net, rhythm, on balance. And the one thing that I've really appreciated watching Stack's growth is he seems to get more and more confident playing at his own pace when he gets the ball inside of 15 feet. From the three-point line, I mean, he's very confident out there, but 15 and in, he's getting a lot more confident, just taking his time, understanding he's got the height advantages, and not trying to, do too much or make too many moves. That's a good block. That is the benefit of having 7 foot and 6'7" on your back line. All right, that's a good pass from E.J. Hazlett. Thompson goes up, but you have trees down there. And again, that's a huge, huge asset to have, especially, a guy like Ed, who's a high-level athlete. Stack's a very good shot blocker. You could argue probably the best one in the state. That's a great piece of help there to allow your guards to be a little bit more aggressive. Got a foul on the drive. Probably a little bit of traffic there, but I like the aggressiveness from Ed trying to get downhill. I think they're calling that on the ground. So we've got a few subs coming in. So remember, last 2 baseline out of bounds plays, they ran the same play, right? They sent Aiden both times up over these screens. Point guard's popping out. It looks like they're probably running the same thing here. We'll see what the read is on this. And he is still wide open. I mean, that's a great look. They don't, at this point, they don't need or have any reason to run anything else on the baseline out of bounds because they've gotten really 3 different variations of quality looks off of that. Good kick out. Another rebound. I mean, Stack's probably got, I don't know, 5, 6 rebounds already. Probably a little bit over halfway through the first half. Oh, it's a quick trigger. I think we got a foul down there. And again, as good of a shooter as Aiden is, I mean, I think that's going to be his role this year. He had a really, really good spring with big 3 shooting the basketball. Really good catch and shoot guy. And I just think I really appreciate how much he's playing with confidence at this point. Exact same play. They guarded it a little bit better that time. And this is, so again, just a small thing, not really impacting the play one way or another. When this is not open, right, and they shoot the gap, I want to see, just watch Stack here. I would like to see after this ball gets reversed or dribbled up, if they're not going to be overly physical, trying to really fight to see if he can get down here, leg whip, and get a post touch, right? So see right here, he makes the cut, but he doesn't really finish it. I know the ball gets moved. Even on this, right, look at how EJ's playing him. If you don't get it on the block here because the ball gets reversed, all right, that's fine. We have inside position. Perry can spray out. Ryan can spray out. Leg whip and seal the other way. Get that right hand up. They could probably throw it over the top for a layup or a dunk. But again, that'll come with time as, there's different levels of strength as Colin gets stronger. And again, they're still going to get quality looks without that. But you see what I mean? Like, there's opportunities. EJ Hazlett is a very good athlete, and Lincoln's athletic on the back end as well. But I still feel like if they time it correctly, or more so if Colin times his seal correctly, there's going to be a chance here for him to be able to get it over the top. So a ball gets passed here, kind of ghosts out of that step up. I understand why that would have been a tougher pass, kind of dribbled it a little bit off the spot. Spacing's not great here. We obviously don't need 2 guys in the same sandbox, but I mean, even here, just a little bit of a, and honestly, this is probably more of a lower half seal than anything else. He doesn't even need to be battling as much with his upper body. Just like one little hip bump there and showing a hand. But again, I'm still living with a rhythm 3 from Jayden more often than not. And that's good hands there to get it back. Kankakee right now has struggled to get consistent offense. They look best when they've gotten to the rim. All right. Getting into the offense. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good dunk there. That's the perfect placement of that pass. That's how you clear out. That's how you get it over the top. And then, you get a dunk there. There's nothing that Kankakee can do on the back end there because of the off-ball movement. So a little bit of a run for Benet here. Probably living with that. From Kankakee's standpoint, it's been a couple possessions where you haven't really gotten anything great yet. Maybe a little bit more motion before getting that same shot. It's a good look. Again, a shot he's capable of hitting. Now, if you're Kankakee, I got to go right now. That's a good take. Again, that is one of the benefits of having this front, I guess, wing duo of EJ Hazlett and Lincoln Williams. It's going to be hard to leave one of the other ones to go double, and they are both just really good at getting downhill. So you'll see as the ball gets pushed in transition here, gets up to Lincoln, he's snapping it right away. That's one thing I really like about Lincoln Williams. he is able to go get 25, 30 if he needs to, but he also does a lot in the flow of the offense and really had a really efficient junior season and has continued that in AAU. The one thing, and again, it's all scouting report stuff, you may not know, at this point, Stack should know, I'm not getting beat to his strong hand, right? That closeout, I would almost rather flip my feet. Now, granted, you're probably still giving up a weak side layup because there's not really going to be backside help if Ryan goes over to help. But I don't want to give up a dominant hand drive for an athletic 6'6" wing like this. And I definitely don't want to give up an and one. Right. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. I know I talked earlier about Ed being on the nail on one of the ball screens. Kind of the same premise here. So just back it up a little bit. Transition is always tough. That's why teams would prefer to stop the ball as early as you can. Nobody really wants to play transition defense when they're down men. But in this situation, Jayden's still here. And honestly, they do have a backside layup that's wide open if they want to throw it there. Jayden identifies that. The problem is Stack's still kind of in a compromising position to an extent. I know it looks like he's in front of the ball, but you got a hard left-hand driver still kind of building up a head of steam. And then we have, Perry kind of reaching here. Less reaching, more, true stunting at the basketball to actually make them kick it. The one time they stunted hard on Lincoln on that ball screen, the ball had to get past. When they've just done the one-hand-in reach without a true stunt, that's when they're getting the and ones. That's when they're getting the fouls. That's when they're making those layups. So again, that has really been the only way that Kankakee has scored so far is on those downhill situations where that gap help defender is not really doing their job to its fullest extent. That's good defense. Good pass too. So want to reverse that. And that's again, he's known as a really good shooter, as I'm sure Kankakee and their staff talked about before the game. But he doesn't get nearly enough credit for how crafty and how strong he is getting to the rim. And he's shown that all of June, but I do think there were probably college coaches who were wondering, hey, we know he can shoot, but, what else does he do? Passing, defense, gets to the rim, makes the right reads. Same baseline out of bounds. He is wide open. Decent close out there from Hazlett, but too good of a shooter. So right now they are getting a great look off of that baseline out of bounds, probably 60 to 70% of the time, which is phenomenal efficiency out of that. They're making the right reads out of it too. So right now, one thing to watch is what does the defense look like when Stack's out of the game? Because that is a ultimate net guy inside in terms of someone that can erase mistakes. It intimidates people around the rim in terms of making guys alter their shots, maybe dribble it out. What does it look like without him in there, right? You really need those gap guys to be in the right spots. So right now, Perry's where he needs to be. Ryan can probably be a little bit higher up because this is probably a wide open catch and shoot. I don't think we've seen a three taken yet here, but nevertheless, just from a positioning standpoint, great job here from Jayden getting through the screen. It's a little too deep. Too deep there. So Ethan's being active on the ball. You have to be able to balance that. I'm pressuring it and I'm not giving up straight lines. And that comes with time too because, and again, transferred in from Australia. Australia has a lot of high-level athletes there as well, but it's in a game-to-game basis. I got to be able to give enough of a step while still applying ball pressure. That's another kind of reach there. So if we get a little bit more, and you guys are probably thinking, why do you keep going back on all these defensive plays? I think just from a general, principle standpoint, they are a very, very good team with guys in the gaps. Jayden did a good job taking away Thompson. So right now, Hazlett and Thompson are those two main guys for them. Lincoln's obviously out there as well. Here again, we see that away screen. That's why the away screen works generally, because it takes the guys out of their help responsibilities and gets them occupied with some weak side action. So here, Jayden lost track of the ball. He was facing the away screen, lost track of the ball, and then we get one of those reaches instead of a full-on stunt. Again, a full-on stunt is you're more stunting up at the basketball instead of just throwing your hand in there. Like, there is footwork involved in a stunt versus with a reach. I think Benet still got a decent lead at this point. That's good defense. I think Perry still got it back there. Yeah, Lincoln is always good for a couple times a game. Guys just going into traffic and just having the quick hands to take the ball away. So another ball screen. If you notice, pretty much with everybody other than Stack, guys are more at the level of the screen. So there you saw Ed was more at the level of the screen. It's a good job of not over-helping anywhere to get a steal. All right, so Ed's open right now. We'll see where the ball goes. Not a bad shot, but this is one of those where you almost have to anticipate the pass a little bit. Again, still a good pass. You still got an open shooter who can knock those down. Right now, if you're Jayden, I'm trying to manipulate number 3. 4 guys are up here. I have 2 on the back end. I know I can get a wide open 3 as well, but an eye fake away to throw it to the block versus an eye fake to the block to throw it to the corner probably leads to a layup because he's still open. And again, that's a full left-handed pass across the court to a good shooter on time, on target. So still a good pass, but probably could have gotten a layup off of that. And then if you notice to this point, whether it's been Ed on him or Perry, they've done a very good job of loading up to the basketball when Lincoln has a ball in transition, so he doesn't have as many straight lines. In the second half, he started to get a lot more of those, but in this first half, not nearly as many. All right, what happened there? All right, so like I said, ball got stopped, got reversed, trying to see how much space was. Yeah, he didn't. That wasn't a hard enough screen off the ball to get caught up into it. And then kind of came out with a low-handed closeout. Ends up getting it up, but sometimes with guys that are rhythm shooters, if you don't have the hand up on the catch, it doesn't really impact the shot. Unless you have a ton of length, it doesn't really impact the shot too much. So Kankakee's making a little bit of chipping away. That's a good take again. If I'm Kankakee, I can't give up a layup on that, but good job by Perry to get downhill right away. That's better defense. A little bit of body, probably a foul. But to be honest with you, we saw that prior possession where same situation. There was a ball screen. Ethan wasn't able to stay in front. I'm almost okay with you picking up a foul on this because what I do see is a guy saying I'm not going to get beat in a straight line twice. Now, do I want him to do it without a foul? Of course. But I do respect that you're not going to beat me downhill 2 times in a row. All right, so we haven't really seen a ton of baseline out of bounds. This might be the first one for Kankakee. That's too easy. I got to get that rebound. Looks like Hazlett's going to get there. So I think I saw, looked like Stack was about to sub in. All right, so Another baseline out of bounds. I'm guessing they're probably going to run the same thing since they did get a fairly on point touch. Okay, so catch in the corner again. The last time that this was a matchup in the corner, EJ went hard left, 2 or 3 dribbles, got all the way to the rim for a layup. We'll see if, from a footwork standpoint, or maybe just from a movement standpoint, Stack does a better job staying in front. So still got a little bit too deep, frankly, for me. So here, and I know it's hard to see with, just where the camera's located. When he goes to close out here, this should be in any matchup, but particularly with guys that are quicker, a little bit less flat-footed on that closeout and a little bit more anticipation to get an idea of where the guy's going. But also, maybe flip the angle a little bit so you're not giving up that left-handed drive. Again, here, we get stunned a little bit more. This is the benefit of having someone like Colin Stack. And, a lot of times when people ask, where do you think, Colin projects? I think there's certain systems at high levels of Division I basketball where the skills that he provides fit perfectly. He's no question a Division I player, but I mean, he kind of gave up a step there. And if you notice, at no point in this, off of this catch, did Colin stop competing to guard. Even if he got beat on the first step, right? He lost the first step there. You're going to lose first steps. He lost the first step and he continued pursuit of the basketball and challenged a shot. Ends up getting a foul call here. But I like to know that my big is going to continue to go protect the rim and challenge shots, regardless of if they're in the perfect position every time. And Hazlett, you can just see, I mean, obviously even in the film, good build, athletic, length at the wing spot. I mean, he can handle it a little bit, has a decent jump shot. He's going to be another Division I player. Same thing with Lincoln Williams. And again, him playing the 5 spot means he's going to have generally guys that are not used to guarding someone like him out there. All right, we've got a high ball screen coming. Good separation. Yeah, he's just a winning point guard. So I think when you talk to high school coaches, we'll go back a little bit further, and you talk about, hey, what do you think the most important thing is for you to win at the high school level, right? And it's probably the same for college coaches too. They want a second coach on the floor. So when I look at Jayden Wright from a high school perspective, he is an elite high school point guard. But then when I even project it out, because he can handle the ball the way he does, because he can shoot from out to the NBA line, and because he has such a confidence and a calmness and coolness about his game, that he doesn't get shaken by this. Myers Thompson is a very good physical on-ball defender, right? He just hits the brakes, gets a separation. They can't even get a contest on the shot because he did such a good job of reading how to create space there. And I love the 2-man game with the ball screens involving Jayden and Stack, because I think you're always going to have to pick a poison, and both the guys can shoot the 3. Both the guys can hurt you at the rim. Got a foul there on a ball screen. So Kankakee is actually usually heavy in the passing cut, dribble penetration. They've done a lot of ball screening in this game as well. So different baseline out of bounds here. I'm guessing probably a clock malfunction if I had to guess. And then we only got about a minute left, but let me just, small stuff matters, and that's why sometimes film is better than watching only in person. I think it's good to see both. Okay, so if we go back a little bit, right after they stopped the game here. Watch Jayden Wright here going to coach up. Now, Aiden's the same age as him, but this is a 3-year guard who wants to win basketball games, right? So he's trying to provide advice to Aiden, who, like I said, it seems like he's worked really hard to be playing significant minutes this year, but teaching him, like, hey, this is where you need to be. This is how you need to close out to these guys, foot positioning, all that stuff. I want my point guard, like I said, to be a second coach on the court. And that is what I would love to see from more point guards, is guys that are willing to talk to their teammates like that. He didn't do it in a demonstrative manner. It wasn't calling him out in a negative way. It was just, hey, this is how we need to close out. This is how you do it. And then just move on, right? So I think this should be the last possession or so. And we'll see what they get here. Another high ball screen, it looks like. So again, I can't see the clock right now, so I don't know the exact time. I think that'll be the half. So they don't get anything there. So again, a lot of positives I felt like in that half of basketball. Really, at different moments for both teams. I think Kankakee did a good job of attacking in the ball screens. I think Benet, when you look at the movement, the number of shooters, in the length, I mean, in this half didn't show just how phenomenal Stasis was in the entire month of June. This half you saw more of his defensive presence, but he had a phenomenal June. Stack, Jayden Wright were one of the best duos, I would say, that I saw the entire month. And when you combine those three, I think that's kind of the big three for Benet right now, with so many quality guards and wings that can shoot it. And it seems like everybody that's getting subbed in is providing just what they need to win games, whether that's 3-point shooting, whether that's guarding the basketball, whether that's just providing general energy. There's so many different layers of this team. And I know they lost a number of very talented seniors, but it looks like there's the guys that are ready to step into those big roles kind of get to another deep downstate run. And obviously, when you have one of the best coaches in the state to help kind of mold that, I would say at this point, with the losses they had last year, I feel like Bennett's even ahead of schedule than what they would even want with how well this group looks right now. And I think, in terms of projecting out, I think you have to look at this point. Jayden Wright is without question a scholarship level guard. And he's the type of guard where if you're not really watching the game, maybe you don't appreciate it. Forget how well he does shooting the three ball. The leadership, the defense, the ability to push the tempo, be a playmaker, hit shots, get to the rim. He does so many things well. The only knock that you really could have is that he's maybe not the most show-stopping athlete, or maybe that he's not the biggest guard. But again, winning is winning, and I see a winning point guard every time he steps on the court. And then with Stack, again, like I said, I could see a variety of ranges of Division I programs recruiting him because of the skill set. And, I just think it is very difficult in the entire country to find 7-footers who are able to protect the rim like that, while also being high-level passers, while also being high-level three-point shooters, and haven't even tapped into how big and physical they're going to be with time. So, it's going to be a really impressive Benet team to watch this year. I think when you look at Ed's game as well, to me, I already think he's a Division I prospect, and I know he doesn't have any offers yet, but I mean, you check the boxes of a guy that can guard, can move, can shoot it, high-level athlete, smart kid. I mean, they have a lot of the pieces that you look for in a downstate team, and it's going to be enjoyable to watch them grow and develop. But don't be surprised if you see Benet back downstate. Uh, and don't be surprised if even based on June, you see them challenging for another state championship.